Do you know what? It's been a month since I started YouTubing, um, and it was a hell of a journey. I want to take this moment of reflection to contemplate about everything that happened, mostly internally, since my views are still on the threshold of maximum of 2,000. Thousand, you wish. How do you call it on TikTok? 300 views jail. I'm exactly there, but the most change that happened was internal. And that's freaking amazing because I remember myself at the beginning of the summer pretty shallow. I felt like I felt the past 5 years circa like a shadow of myself, visually, aesthetically, internally. I crave the part of me that's been missing for so long, since my spiritual awakening, since everything in my life has changed and crashed and crumbled down at first, but then it, the foundation was quite, how do we call it, made from not very solid. Well, it was based on trauma, basically. So I had to rewire my whole personality, and that process wasn't A, beautiful, B, comfortable, 3, speedy, fast. It wasn't like, the phoenix as we want, the phoenix reborn. It wasn't like that. As every narcissistic part of our society and our psyche wants it to be. It wasn't like that, and it was a slow and steady process. Not every time I've been positive about it, but something in my mind and my heart kept pushing me towards and going towards my new personality that I knew I one day will find, create, meet, something like that. Because for the big part of that journey, I've been personalityless, if you can call it. I believe during the process of ego death, that's something that happens a lot, that you lose your persona that you created consciously, unconsciously for many years. You've been growing inside that persona, and many of us created that persona from a traumatic place, from a place of trauma, so disintegration. And what instead the ego death creates for you is space to create an integrity, the whole you. So all the parts that you missed, that you dissociated from your body, yeah, or how I recently learned in curanderismo in Mexico and Mesoamerica, they call it susto. Susto, like a shattered part of your soul that went missing from your body. It's basically trauma, what they describe. PTSD, CPTSD. It's like the part of your soul is somewhere else, and with all the rituals, all the curanderas practices, they call that part back to the body. This is beautiful because it's very somatic. Well, this is not the direction I wanted this video to go, but let's flow with it. I think it's symbolic because it's kind of reflection from the first video I posted here about Dark Night of the Soul. And this is my 1 month reflection on that as well. So when I started this journey of YouTube, I felt like something inside of me starting to reborn again, something that I missed for many years. I feel replenished. I feel enough energy to do so. I felt called to do it. It wasn't something that I have expected of me, of my projects to be, to create a YouTube channel. But it's something that happened, and apparently that was something in the works for many years. Because then, eh, during my contemplation of about my YouTube page, my future YouTube page, I found a lot of videos that I apparently filmed all these years since at least 2016. I've been filming my journey, my travels in Italy, my cooking videos, or what else. I have a lot of b-rolls. I have a lot of materials. Unfortunately, I don't have many talking head videos, but some of them, well, at least I did maybe 10 attempts of creating a YouTube channel, but that I remember of in the past 10 years. And that's not including me in my childhood. My best friend was a camera, big as VHS camera that my parents had. I used it to create selfie in the mirror. I used to film like stop motion videos. I created storytellings about my kittens. I always been on camera since I was a child. When I wasn't been strong enough to carry a VHS camera, my parents were filming me. So I guess that was always in the making. Unfortunately, the big part of my journey on camera is missing. I wasn't filming myself much. My parents stopped filming us during our life, day-to-day life. But many things are filmed horizontally. Then Instagram stories came in and we all started filming vertically. But still, I have a lot of B-roll, I have a lot of A-roll as well. So this is funny. But the change that I noticed since the idea of creating my YouTube channel this year planted in my head, so at the end of June of this year, 2025, I started filming again, I started documenting life around me, and I started glowing up. That was interesting because I noticed that visually, like I changed my hair, I started like being more luminous about that. And it's funny because if I look into my natal chart and Vedic astrology, my second house that represents voice, public speaking, mouse, self-expression through voice is in Leo. And Leo, Leo, it's all about showing up and showing off. But my mission this time in front of the camera was not performing. It wasn't to create a persona that I can hide behind, because I did it in the past. I've been on camera a lot, consciously at least, since 2017. I always talked in my stories, in my Instagram IGTVs, etc. Then I gone in my hermit mode, but that's another story, and I got silent. But I since now 2017 till 2020-ish, 2021, I was creating a persona, very Leo-ish energy, very like Lady in Red style, and it was very pompous. It was fun to watch. It was very fun persona, personal brand I created naturally for myself and for the others. For the audience, it was super nice. It was fun. I was having fun. That's important. But still, it wasn't me totally. But I didn't know that. back then. Because again, it was from drama. That was the only positive and performing or in spotlight part of me that I knew, and it needed to be a little bit more than it is. More brave, more glammy, more positive, more secure, more confident, more than I was really. It was a challenging self growth journey. Don't get me wrong. It was beautiful exercise training against your shame, a beautiful exercise in the shame in yourself. But still, many parts of myself were neglected by me. And only in therapy and self reflection and spiritual awakening and many, many other practices that I've done on myself in the past 6 years got me back to myself integrally, to my body. From my susto, many parts came back to my body again, of my soul. And this is beautiful to notice and to experience firsthand. So this time in front of the camera, it was about presenting myself authentically. And again, in Vedic astrology, my sun is in a nakshatra called Purva Bhadrapada, and it's Aquarius basically. But that angle of Aquarius that is represented in Indian astrology as a two-faced man. It's like a mask sometimes, like two faces. So it mask is a very social sign. It's about masses of people, groups, communicating with groups, public speaking. But it's also about putting a mask, putting a persona in front of you, um, and present yourself through that. And it was like, I don't want to do it. Like I've been reading lately about it, and I was like, because the eclipses are uh, around these dates are exactly in this nakshatra, the first, the lunar eclipse. And I was like, I don't want to create a persona. I did this whole journey of meeting myself again to not do just to not do it anymore. To be myself as much as I can everywhere. To not having this dissonance between my social media persona and my real life persona. I want the minimum dissonance of that. I want to be sane. I don't want to create stress for myself uh, in front of the camera. I don't want to create stress for myself when I meet new people or when I meet my audience of like, is this really me? Should I perform right now in front of people? I wanted to feel as natural as possible. And then I read deeper. The idea of this nakshatra, of creating the persona, of this mask in front of others, is to have this mask the more realistic possible. Because it's impossible to be like bare naked. The way we contacting with people, with the world, is through a personality. It's like basic psychology. I don't. I believe it's impossible to live without ego. Ego as a part, as a conscious part, adult part of yourself, of your psyche. So creating this new ego after your ego death or disintegration, or better, integration. Like your ego, I talked about it in my previous videos. It's during the ego death, your ego dissolves so much that it integrates in a new version of you. It's like the butterfly transformation that is very used in this community, describing the spiritual awakening and transformation process. The If you don't know how it's done, the butterfly before. It's like this little animal. I don't know. I don't like. Don't get me wrong. I don't know the name of the thingy. So this beautiful creature comes into a cocoon, and before transforming in a beautiful butterfly, a completely different species, completely different animal, it disintegrates. It becomes a goo, like a complete disaster for the previous version of this butterfly. But it doesn't go anyway. The old material, all the ego of the worm, it stays there in the cocoon. Cocoon is not leaking anything. So all the materials, all the ingredients are there, and they are transforming and they are reintegrating. They are like a Lego, like a Tetris, finding a new composition between them. All the cells are transforming and creating a new configuration. But it's the same. So it dissolves and it integrates, and then it becomes something more beautiful uh, to us people, I believe, than born as well. It has its own beauty. But still, why I was talking about that, about ego integration, ego death. Yes, we present ourselves to the world through an ego, through a persona. And during the ego death, you lose this persona. During the dark night of the soul, you lose this persona you created. You lose your personality, basically. So it's very funny. Like, it's not funny at all experiencing it, but it's a funky feeling because you live for some amount of time without the personality, and you're like, who am I? Who, how do I look like? What voice do I use? What's important to me? How should I dress? How will I present myself to people when I'm like, hi, my name is Anastasia, Nastya, Larista, whatever. Hi, my name is X, and I am what? Because during your ego death journey, during your transformation journey, spiritual awakening, dark night of the soul, how depression, how do you want to call it? You you are faced with the mission of learning who are you without X, Y, and Z. Who are you without your job? Who are you without your friends? Who are you without your money? Who are you without your community, country, everything you've been associating yourself with goes away, and we are like, shit, who am I without my career? Who am I without my projects? If I'm not doing anything, if I'm not earning any money, if I'm not doing any projects, if I'm off social media, if I have zero external validation, I'm so used to, who am I? If I shouldn't describe myself through my job or through my social status. Hi, my name is Nastya, and I am daughter of, I'm a sister of, I'm a creator of, I'm doing so and so. Who am I without these roles? And this is very funny journey. You're like, okay, I'm not all these things, but who am I? Who am I? And then slowly, with every step you do, you discover yourself. You discover the new you, what's important to you, your values, the looks you want to serve from now on, the people you want to surround yourself with, what are your tastes, like what do you like to drink, what do you like for breakfast, and they knew you. How do you want to earn money if it's not like you've been doing it before? And slowly, this new version starts to rise from that goo, and you start meeting yourself again. And for me, it was through the creation of this YouTube channel. To this point, I posted 8 or 9 videos, and I filmed 8 more, if not more. And in the process of creating it, in the process of filming alone without publishing, it was a such growth. It was a such visual growth for myself. It was like it was like meeting myself again, seeing myself again, literally on video, hearing my own voice, hearing my own values, not being afraid of talking about the topics I really care about. Many of topics I talk here were sort of taboo for me. Astrology was huge no for me because I was so afraid being burned at stake again. Yes, it's like some past life fear of being I don't know, rejected from the society for being too woo. Even if I know that my approach in astrology is very scientific, it's very like focused, laser focused. And if it doesn't sound provable for me, I reject it as an information. So I'm very thorough in my research. Still, I wasn't able to present myself in front, especially people that I know personally or I knew for many years and that knew my persona through Instagram or social media. They knew the old me, and that lady in red was so easy to sell. It's a wrong word probably, but so easy to present. So I was terrified. And one of the reasons I created YouTube, because nobody knows me here. I have no audience here, so I can present myself safely without any potential judgment that only lives in my head of what will people say. Because like in Instagram, it's inevitable somebody will say something, I think, right away, and I won't have any space to process it or to react or just to sit with how I feel about it. So yeah, talking about topics I love, such as astrology, somatic work, mind body correlation, YouTube gave me a lot of space. Physical, digital is like a format that can support a long form. And I love to speak and I love to talk, and I wasn't giving myself an opportunity to do so. And doing this for a month, for 4 or 5 weeks now, was such a journey of owning my own voice. And it's funny that now my throat started like getting strange because like yeah, I was having this throat block chakra for many years. It was problematic for me to communicate, to own it, not shrink myself when I speak about something that's important. Before it was very easy to talk about topics that are like acceptable socially, but I'm here like to disrupt this and at least own the themes that I really passionate about. I own it to myself. So this journey was a very therapeutic for me. It's it really is, and I don't know well when where it will go, but I'm gonna cherish these moments and reflect on it, and hopefully we'll be doing it for some more time and maybe showing more adventures my journey will bring to my life. So yeah, I guess This is my first month recap of YouTube journey. And thank you for watching it and being here with me. And yeah, see you soon. I love you. And thank you for being here and creating this space for me. And thanks to me for creating the space for all of us. Yeah, bye and see you soon.